All right, let's talk about a word you've probably heard thrown around a ton. Agile. It's this super popular way of managing projects. But you know what? It's also really misunderstood. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down what it really is, how it actually works, and why it's such a game changer.
So, let's kick things off with a question. And be honest, have you ever been on a project like this? You're months in, everyone's following the super rigid, detailed plan, and then boom, something changes. A customer has a new idea, the market shifts, and the whole project just freezes. Or worse, it completely falls apart. It's a classic problem, right?
Well, the answer to that kind of rigidity is a philosophy called Agile. And at its heart, it's a way of working that's designed to embrace change, not fight it. So instead of trying to deliver one massive thing at the very end, Agile is all about delivering small, working pieces of the project, fast and often. You learn as you go, and you adapt.
To really wrap our heads around Agile, we've got to go back to its roots. See, this whole philosophy was officially laid out back in 2001. A bunch of software developers got together because they were just fed up with the old way of doing things. They knew there had to be a better way to build stuff. And what they came up with is the foundation for everything we're about to talk about.
And it all comes down to this one document, the Agile Manifesto. Now, this isn't some huge, complicated rulebook. Not at all. It's actually a pretty simple statement of 4 key values that basically flip the old way of thinking about work on its head.
Let's start with the first one, which is maybe the most important. It's about valuing people and how they talk to each other, more than just strictly following processes and using certain tools. The idea here is simple. Great things come from smart, motivated people working together, not from forcing everyone to follow some clunky, one-size-fits-all procedure.
Okay, next up, what's the actual goal? In Agile, the #1 measure of progress is a product that actually works. Think about it. What's more valuable, spending months and months writing up detailed documentation or actually building something that a person can click on, use, and see for themselves? For Agile, the choice is clear.
This third value completely changes the game when it comes to the customer. You know the old way, right? You negotiate a big, scary contract up front, and then the team disappears for 6 months and comes back with the finished product. Well, Agile says no to that. It's all about a constant partnership. The customer is part of the team, giving feedback the whole way through. And all of this leads to the big one, the final value. Being able to respond to change is more important than just blindly following a plan. Agile totally accepts that we can't possibly know everything at the start of a project. Things will change, new ideas will pop up, and being able to pivot, well, that's a sign of strength, not failure.
So when you put these 4 values together, you start to see this really clear picture emerge. It's a massive contrast between the old traditional way of managing projects and this new Agile approach. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Look at the traditional waterfall method. You deliver everything at the very end. There's almost no flexibility. The customer basically sees you at the beginning and at the end. And that means the risk is through the roof. You could be almost done before you find a giant project-killing problem. Agile just flips every single one of those things upside down.
Okay, so that's the big idea, the philosophy. But what does this actually look like day to day? Right? How does a team take these values and actually turn them into a real working product? Let's see Agile in action.
I think the best way to really get it is with a concrete example. So let's imagine a team has a new project. Build a brand new online course registration system for a university. A pretty big job. Most Agile teams work in these short, focused cycles called sprints, usually lasting a couple of weeks. It all starts with the backlog. That's just a big prioritized to-do list of every feature the system needs. So for the very first sprint, the team doesn't try to build the whole thing. They just pick a small, valuable chunk, like let students log in. They plan it, then they build and test it. At the end of the sprint, they hold a sprint review, where they show that working login feature to the university stakeholders. They get real feedback. Then they do a retrospective, which is just a meeting to talk about what went well and what they can do better next time. And then, you guessed it, they repeat the cycle with the next most important thing on the list.
Now, this all sounds pretty amazing, I know. But it's really important to be clear. Agile is not some magic wand you can wave to solve every single problem. Just like any way of working, it comes with some incredible benefits, but also some very real challenges.
The upsides are huge, no doubt about it. Because you're delivering in these small working chunks, you can get a product out to your customers way faster. Quality goes up because you're testing constantly.
and customers are way happier because they're involved and they see progress. But the big one? You slash your project risk by finding problems early, not at the very end when it's too late and too expensive to fix.
But, and this is a big but, the challenges are serious. Moving to Agile requires a massive cultural shift. It's not just about new meetings. And it gets misunderstood all the time as no planning or just making stuff up as you go, which is completely false. It needs a super committed team that collaborates intensely. And if the project's goals are changing all the time, it can be really tough to tell a stakeholder exactly how much it will cost or when it will be done.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. Agile is so much more than just a process or a framework you can follow. Fundamentally, Agile is a mindset. It's a culture. It's a way of thinking that values people over process, that values adaptability over rigidity, and is just obsessed with one thing: delivering real value to customers fast.
So, in the end, the question you should be asking isn't just, should we try a new process? The real question is much deeper. Is your team and is your whole organization truly ready to embrace the Agile mindset? A way of working that's built on trust, on collaboration, and on the courage to change course when you need to.